Hey guys, welcome back to Seller Sessions, 4 p.m. BST. Today is Wednesday. For those who listen on the podcast, will be published tomorrow. But big day for us over here because it is the second SellerPoll 2020, which is brought to you by Fressio. Hence, I brought Ken in today. You've probably seen Ken around the community events. I know we've had John on the show. Ken's also the not only sponsors us here at SellerPoll. He also sponsors Seller Sessions Live, and also from our agency Databrill, we've had 3 exits from our clients this year, of which Ken has been busy and he bought them too as well. So Ken, how many companies you bought today?
I just said it. We just put one under LOI last night, which is exciting, and we probably have, I think, 9 or 10 currently in due diligence under letter of intent. So
what is the estimated at the moment? You're buying around 5 to 10 Amazon businesses a month?
Yeah, I would say. Yep. Yeah, cool. 5 to 7 a month.
5 to 7. That is some going. And recently, I see a newswire go around. 1 billion cap, like valuation, and the fastest growing profitable startup in history. Is that true?
Yeah. Is that right? The fastest profitable business to 1 billion in valuation.
Wow.
By the data that we've seen. Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Excellent.
It's been a fun ride thus far, and we feel like we're still, in the second inning.
Yeah. And so from your perspective, why did you want to get involved with SellerPoll? Obviously you're involved with Seller Sessions as a lead sponsor. What made you want to get involved with the community here on SellerPoll?
Yeah, first, it's a great opportunity for us to, be more involved in the Amazon seller community. It's something we've really been discussing internally. I think you're going to see a lot more from us around that as well. We know it's a very tight-knit community of entrepreneurs, and our company's founded by entrepreneurs, so we think it's important that we start kind of giving back to the community and helping sellers and helping sellers grow. And we think the SellerPoll really highlights, all the best of the community. So, we wanted to be affiliated with that.
Cool. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a screen share and I'm going to do a demonstration of the site. The site is now live, but I just go through for people for the rules and stuff like that. So just let me know if, let me just double check this 1 second. Yep, that's it. Let's get rid of that one. And we will share the screen. Okay, so can you see the screen okay?
Yep.
I'll bring you back up. So for everyone listening, and of course for everyone on the podcast as well, which we publish tomorrow, I just want to go through the website itself. So you can see at the top here, we've got the about section, the rules, vote now. Last year's winners are here, as shown included. You got the contact us if you have any problems with logging in, etc. Then you've got your login and registration. So down here gives you a little bit more about SellerPoll itself, and basically how it works is a quick video to show you here, and then there's the rules against spamming, etc., etc. So you're able to come down here and you can you log in and register. You can see from here you got outstanding contribution, you got favorite software company, favorite service provider, favorite Amazon consultant, favorite Facebook group, YouTube channel, podcast, which again, just so people know, we don't, anything related to me or any of my businesses involve Databrill, Seller Sessions podcast, Seller Sessions Live, branded by women, will not be eligible for voting in this, because we need to remain independent. This is basically for the community. Now, one thing we just need to be a bit clear on as well, with the favorite conference and event, there isn't a drop-down menu here for those, because the way it works is, if we come down to Amazon training as well, as we come down to the bottom here, what we've got here, these are the top 15 last year. So outstanding contribution was Leran Hirschkorn, software was Helium 10, service provider was FreeUp, Amazon consultant was Brandon Young, Facebook group was Amazon FBA High Rollers, Orange Click was the YouTube channel, Serious Seller Podcast was podcast, event was SellerCon, Amazon training course was Seller Systems. So the way that this is broken out is that you've got the opportunities. When you click in, you have a drop down menu here. So you can select from the top 15 of last year's, which is basically the winner and the nominations of last year, the runners up. Or there's a freeform box where you can vote for another party of your choice. Okay. We do have some promo tools as well. So there's two sets of promo tools: vote for us, vote for me. So if you're a software company, it's going to be vote for us. If it's outstanding contribution or consultant, etc., it's going to be vote for me. So we've got a load of graphics and stuff which we'll distribute to everyone in the community so they can reach out to their audience, and of course non-businesses in the community that everyday Amazon sellers, entrepreneurs that want to vote, which we obviously encourage. Now, why do we do this? Well, people know the podcast. We've got over 500 episodes we've been running. Like, my thing is, we work in an industry where, there's a few fly-by-nights and stuff like that. And so rather than having a platform where we talk about those things, we talk about the positive stuff. So my thing is, you put out as much good content as possible. Then you're giving people choice. The way it works for me with these awards is that because it's voted for by the community, what happens is that you end up with 9 categories in a filtered list. So anyone who's looking for, their favorite podcast, or they're looking for a consultant, etc., these have been voted by people within the community. So it becomes its own self-filter. And also you want to be able to reward people for their good work in the industry. So as I said, there's 2 sides to the voting. There's people that tune into podcasts like mine or go to events, and we encourage them to vote for their favorite. Okay. I know people talk about best. It's not about being best. It's about people's favorite. If you're a service provider and a business, then you've got all the promo tools. We've created videos for everyone as well, so they can reach out to their audience and request to be voted in the relevant categories. Now, some people might ask, well, hold on, I'm not in the top 15. You don't have to worry about that at this stage. If you get your audience to vote for you, what will happen, these will eventually, over time, they will shuffle. Because there's going to be people from last year whose companies or people may not get as many votes as they would this year. And there's new people come into the industry over the last couple of years, and their business has grown or their profile's risen. Therefore, their audience will vote for them. So everyone's going to get a fair crack of the whip, as they say. So that's pretty much it. It's going to run from today. And what I'm going to do is, over the course of the next couple of months, because it'll run for 8 weeks, I do what's called the leaderboard, and we've done this last year and it went down pretty well. And basically what that means is that I'll run the leaderboard, so where their positions are. So you might say outstanding contribution, so-and-so is at number 1, or someone's at number 10 and they've moved up 6 places, and people can start to see where the votes are starting to go. So I plan to do those every couple of weeks, but ultimately it comes down to, we've got to make sure that everyone is having fun. Do you know what I mean? You get people that are getting commended for their work, their good work in the industry. So that's pretty much it. It's very straightforward. If anyone has any problems with logging in or voting and has any questions, just drop a mail to info@sellerpoll.com. All right, Ken, I'm coming back to you now. Let's just stop that screen share.
That looks great.
Yeah, so that's pretty much the overview of how it runs. It's quite similar to last year, the process, but obviously with this year, with COVID, it's made it very difficult how to monitor how the best way that we're going to do this with events. So what really happened, I think a lot of the votes from this year, so it would have run from November 6th onwards. So any events, because there were still live events in December, not many, but and then you had the January and you had the February and early March. But I think a lot of them this time were going to be more like your online summits and stuff for this year. And then we can return back to normal, hopefully the new normal next year. So
we'll see.
Let's talk a little bit more now about Thrasio. Where did it all begin for you guys?
Yeah, it began, our co-founders, Josh Silverstein and Carlos Cashman. They were kind of serial entrepreneurs, both had numerous exits. And and they had just been business acquaintances and knew they wanted to do something together. And they got together. They started whiteboarding it probably 2016, 2017. And then they were actually going to look at acquiring D2C brands and optimizing them. So non-Amazon related channels. And once they started to, dig into the Amazon FBA model, they actually made a pivot. And so they bought the first Amazon FBA business in June of 2018. And so, a little over 2 years ago, and, the founding team was put in place, and then I joined in November of 18. They had raised probably 15 million of debt at that point, had done 3 acquisitions. And it's just been, a real growth engine since then.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke when I first met John in Romania. I was speaking there. He's on stage as well. We've done a little interview and had some food together. Really good guy. He, I think he was like at 50 staff, and then he come on one of the Mindset Sundays a few weeks ago. You're like 300 or something now. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think we're up to over like 375.
Wow.
With over 200 full time in the U.S. across Boston, New York, Houston. And a few other people in other cities, and then 150 plus overseas.
Excellent. And in terms of acquiring, what's ideal? I don't know if you can share that. I'm not asking for secret sauce, but what are you looking for anyone who's listening here? If they're getting ready to sell, what kind of attracts Thrasio to buy?
Yeah. So in terms of the first cut of business size, I mean, we'll look at anything from that's doing $1 million in annual revenue up to 100 million.
Yeah.
So it's kind of drive a truck through that range, and then we look at what I call kind of R cube. So we look for leadership positioning, but we define leadership positioning in a category as reviews, rating, and rank. So do you have the review quantity to put your product in the top 5 relative to competition? Do you have the product rating? We're looking for great quality, high quality products that we can actually improve on over time on the quality through our extensive supply chain team. And then ranking. So are you ranking highly, on our high volume organic search terms that are relevant for your products and within your category? Outside of that, we're agnostic to what the products actually are.
What about SKU size? You like to work with more focused products, 10 to 50, 10 to 20.
Yeah, ideally the lower the SKU count, the better. But we also know that sellers oftentimes look to diversify quickly when they do start selling. And, so we're not afraid of, high SKU count catalogs. I think we've bought businesses with over, 500 ASINs, over 1,000 ASINs. So we can handle it from an operational standpoint. But, buying a product is doing 2 million in revenue and, 500,000 in profit. It's a lot easier to manage and a lot less costly for us to run that versus, when you think of the cash tied up in inventory, et cetera, for higher SKU products.
With regards to markets, do you like it mainly, your focus there going to be in the US, because obviously being the largest market, or does it not really matter if they're killing it in the EU? That's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah. We've bought probably 6 or 7 UK businesses now. We bought businesses that are strictly doing pan EU. So, I think when you look at the Amazon marketplace and concentration of revenues, probably 85% US, 15 non. Our portfolio is pretty similar.
Yeah. And in terms of closing, I think you do 45 to 60 days or something. A lot of the.
Yeah. We try and do below 45 if possible. But we have, my team handles all the upfront assessments and looking at the businesses and getting them to sign a letter of intent or a term sheet. And then once that's signed, it's probably 30 to 45 days to close.
Yeah. That's
fastest is 7. We did a deal in 7 days.
Wow. Yeah.
The end of last year.
So I take it when this handover, you've got a stack of SOPs in place and like your term sheets and everything, like it's all templated so you can move fast to take it.
Yeah. I think that's one of the, one of the big competitive advantages we have is having now done over 70 plus acquisitions over the past, really past 18 months. We have, a checklist. I think it's up to 509 Just from migration of the account over to us, the first 30 days of actually taking over and running brand, every brand and product goes through a 509-point checklist.
Right.
That's proprietary, that we've basically learned what to do, what not to do, how to do things, et cetera. And so it's we see a nice lift initially in business performance just from that, and then obviously accelerated growth post acquisition.
Yeah. Cool. So what other things would you think is a standout in terms of what you guys do to get these deals done? What do you think is what you do is different from, say, other companies?
Yeah, I think, when we sign a term sheet, we want to close the deal. So we close 95% of the deals that we actually sign a term sheet with. So in typical M&A, what you get is you sign a term sheet and then you go back and forth. It's a lengthy negotiation. You get beat up over terms. And as you get closer to the finish line, both sides have, vested interest in time and money that they've spent during the process. And, some buyers will drag you out. I've heard stories of people being in diligence for 7 months, 8 months, and then the buyers walk away. So we're just very efficient. We enter a term sheet knowing we want to buy the business. We work with sellers to do that. We have the capital on hand. So we're cash buyers. There's no financing contingencies. I mean, I talk through every deal with our CEO, Josh. So it's not a huge committee or anything like that to get things over the goal line. And I think what we really, the most value we add, and we're going to start talking about this more, is that the way we structure deals is we have earnouts on top. So we let the sellers participate in the future upside that our team is able to drive in the business for a period up to 2 years. And our post acquisition growth is, we're growing annualized profitability at a rate of over 175% post acquisition.
Yeah. So obviously these guys are on earnout. So what's the normal, because some entrepreneurs want to hold, they're attached to their business. So they stay on after. Some people want a clean break. And what do you find is the best balance for when the buyer, so people that are listening are aware, if they sell, it's always good to be on a bit after and get involved with other stuff or.
Yeah. I mean, so I think that's an area where we're definitely flexible. Our typical acquisitions, the sellers walk away and they maintain relationships with our brand managers that they develop through the migration process, and then we keep up communication on how the business is trending, et cetera, and then keep them up to date on the performance. But we have sellers that have stayed on as consultants to launch products. They were 2 or 3 months away from launching a version 2.0, version 3.0. They're really excited about it, and they had the launch plans all set. So, we'll sign them up to a consulting agreement for a period of 6 to 12 months. We've actually 2 of the acquisitions, we've brought the owners on to run product development teams internally for Thrasio. So they actually are Thrasio employees now full time. We're really flexible. And we know it's the biggest life decision that most of these entrepreneurs are making at this point. So, we want to be there and help them through that, emotionally as well. I think it's, we're the nanny taking over their baby, the analogy I like to use, and they want to make sure it's going into good hands.
Exactly. And you also signed up a certain Casey Goss as well, formerly of Viral Launch. So that must be a nice coup as well, because he's very well respected in the industry. So what's his role for you guys?
Yeah, so Casey's joined our executive leadership team. He's head of Amazon SEO. So he's taken his learnings that, and the talent that he has, and it's very hard to replicate in the marketplace. So I think it's amazing now. Every business that we acquire, his team that he's building out is doing a SEO scorecard. So every acquisition is getting looked at by his team. And he's just doing some amazing things. He was actually one of the kind of helped with the initial idea. He's kind of he's had a front row seat. He kind of helped Josh and Carlos out in the beginning. So it's great to have him on board fully, and he's added tremendous value already.
Yeah. So what's the end game? What's the plan? What's your goals for the next 2 to 3 years?
Yeah, great question. We think when we look at the marketplace, right, there's 35,000 plus sellers doing over $1 million a year in revenue on Amazon. We've acquired 70, 75 thus far. So we think there's a long runway. But what we're really excited about is, we're focused on building a next generation CPG company. So right. When the digital Procter and Gamble or Unilever. And so we're really focused on building this operational platform that at the end of the day becomes agnostic to where a product comes into the platform. So today it's, basically Amazon FBA acquisitions is our key R&D engine. Yeah. We're building out product launch teams. We're launching our own products, et cetera. And then I think over time you see us moving out into other channels for product acquisition and brand acquisition as well.
Sounds great. Is there anything you would like to add before we go?
Oh, I think this is great. I mean, we love what you do for the community. I mean, congratulations on 500. I mean, that's amazing. How many days in a row have you been?
Well, I got to a stage, people are bored of hearing it now, but we've done 77 in a row. And then we took a day off for Blackout Tuesday, come back for 7 days for a couple of weeks. And then we went from 7 down to 5 and now it's 4. So it's just Monday to Thursday now. But yeah, it's still good.
That's great. Yeah, I'm excited. I love, when I was ramping on, the market a couple of years ago and the work you've been doing and the SellerPoll, I think is just great for the community to recognize the people that are taking leadership positions within the market. Yeah, it's still a market that's really, I think, in its infancy in terms of
young. Yeah, I think there's plenty of room to grow.
When you look at like typical, even on the software side, historically, all these markets start with point solutions and then they consolidate down into 2 or 3 leading platforms. I still think we're away from that when you look at everybody's really offering just point solutions still at this point. I think Helium 10 is a great offering in terms of some other ancillary products. But I think it's exciting. The next 5 years are going to be an awesome opportunity for everybody in the market as a rising tide.
Even with Europe, I mean, I've seen it since 2015. There's been massive growth, in terms of, we always look to the US for everything. And then you've got Augustus is what he's doing around Europe. Yep. I mean, at the beginning of this year, there were no plans on focusing on speaking in the US. It was just focusing on EU. And in January, I'd already had 7 European gigs lined up. Estonia, Slovenia, all over the place. And obviously COVID hit, but it's good because you're starting to see all these different communities spring up and they start off small. So my plan for this year was to go territory by territory. And out of the top 10 larger conferences in the UK, I was booked to do 7 of those as well. Because you come out, you can get lost in the Amazon community, but then you go to these bigger events and you're like the Amazon guy at at this XL event. There is a big wide world out there, but there is a lot more people engaging in terms of they're seeing what's going on Amazon. And if they're already a brand built off of it, they are looking to Amazon as a large channel to get involved in,
Yeah. And I think that's what's really interesting is that, as Amazon has made this huge shift from 1P to 3P, the big name brands are now also being forced to figure out Amazon. Yes. And there's not a lot of institutional knowledge on how to do that. Yeah. And I think, all the people and solutions that are part of the SellerPoll, I think there's going to be a lot of tremendous value that these people and organizations can add to the overall e-commerce marketplace globally, which is pretty exciting.
Yes, I agree. So I'm looking forward next 3 to 5 years. I think with the explosion because of COVID, the commerce moving online, I think what we're doing here and what everyone's doing in the community, we're going to see a lot more growth. Because a lot of people are talking about 2016, right? The gold rush, right? It is harder now on Amazon. There is more rules and stuff in place. You don't just fly up the pages once you load it in at FBA. But there is still a lot of opportunity for real brands and I think there's a lot of scope for growth. And yeah, I can see a big hit coming in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting. I mean, Anchor just went public, the first Amazon native brand, which is pretty exciting. And I think that there's always been the fear that Amazon, which still happens, right? They're it's run by algorithms, and you can get shut down and suspended, et cetera. But I think they're taking the right actions to help sellers as well and get more sellers comfortable and brands comfortable being on the platform and betting on the platform longer term.
Yeah, cool. If people want to reach you, Ken, what's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, or just email ken@thras.io, TRTHRAS.io. It's pretty simple.
Cool. Thank you, guys. It's in the ticker at the bottom, but go and please vote now, sellerpoll.com, which of course is brought to you by Thrasio. I will be back here 4 p.m. BST tomorrow. Take care of yourself and your family. Thanks, Ken. And guys, I'll see you soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Danny.